Imagine, if you will, you get a letter in the mail from the IRS. You think it's your tax refund, but it turns out to be a pink slip. And this is courtesy of Donald's latest plan to gut the Internal Revenue Service. Or maybe you were waiting at your desk, looking at your email, wondering if today is the day you're going to lose your job, because there's a lot of that going around, I hear. That all sounds a bit dystopian, doesn't it? Well, that's because it is. Welcome to the Trump regime. According to the New York Times, the firings at the IRS of approximately 6,700 employees began this week. Donald wants to curb the agency's powers, and he's dispatched Elon Musk and his stupid Department of Government Efficiency, which, again, illegal, unconstitutional, et cetera, in order to scrutinize the IRS's computer systems in an effort, as they say, to cut government waste, fraud, and abuse. Sometimes I think those are the only words Donald knows anymore, other than billions. And unfair, of course, a perennial favorite. But turns out that more than 5,000 of those workers were part of the IRS compliance team, which deals with auditing and collections. Now, before you send up a collective cheer, because who really wants to get audited? That's not at all what this is about, because I suspect there's another reason that Doge may be after this particular agency. Watch this report from last night in Kansas City.
Hundreds of Kansas City IRS employees went into the office today, but not to work. They cleaned out their desks and were escorted back out.
The Trump administration's new Department of Government Efficiency, Doge, seeks to cut back on what they describe as government overspending. This local development is part of a broader wave of terminations, with the AP reporting that 7,000 probationary IRS employees will be laid off nationwide by the end of the week. The Inflation Reduction Act of 2022, a law supported solely by Democrats, provided the IRS with additional funding. The aim was to enhance enforcement efforts. The IRS announced a significant initiative targeting 125,000 wealthy non-filers, specifically those earning $400,000 or more per year. This effort was part of a broader strategy to address tax evasion among high earners. The effort was successful, with the IRS recovering an impressive $4.7 billion in back taxes.
Okay, so firing a lot of Americans is a unique approach to making America great again, don't you think? But who really benefits from this, right? Turns out that it's ultra wealthy tax cheats and corporations. With fewer IRS enforcement officers, millionaires and billionaires will have even an easier time dodging paying their already low taxes. The result will be billions of dollars, like many, many billions of dollars in lost revenue that is needed to fund our government. I'm pretty sure that E in Doge stands for efficiency, but I'm beginning to think I don't really know what that word means anymore. Before we dive into that, please take a second to share and like this video. Also, if you haven't already, subscribe to our channel and click on that bell, because that way you will be sure to be alerted every time new videos drop. So let's talk about the people upon whom this will have the most impact. Well, it's you guys. While billionaires will continue to line their pockets, 99% of American taxpayers are going to pay for that privilege. So the National Treasury Employees Union, of course, condemned the firings as arbitrary and unlawful, which they are, warning that this will lead to delays, inefficiencies, and financial losses for working Americans. You know, remember those people that Republicans are supposed to care about? Real Americans, if you will. IRS staffing is already down, and now with Donald's hiring freeze, we are about to see massive delays in tax refunds, even longer hold times to get an IRS agent on the phone, and a general breakdown in the taxpayer services. What billionaires like Elon Musk don't care about, though, is that many Americans depend upon their tax refunds to make ends meet. According to a survey conducted between December 2024 and January 2025, 30% of Americans rely on tax refunds as a financial lifeline, including 50% of millennials. 45% say rising costs like housing and groceries make refunds essential. 41% blame inflation, while 37% live paycheck to paycheck, making refunds critical for stability. Americans are also paying the price with their jobs, as we've seen. And here's the irony: Donald supporters, even though they thought they were going to be, are not immune. Robert McCabe, a supporter of Donald's from Philadelphia, was fired from his IRS job on Thursday. And here he is talking about the experience. Take a look.
Very, very chaotic. I mean, there was no organization to it at all. And basically, we just sat around for the rest of the day. I mean, talk about government efficiency. We literally sat there and did nothing all day long while we waited for our fate. So again, we got our email saying that we were fired after sitting around all day knowing we were fired. And then we turned in our equipment about an hour or so later, and then we were escorted out of the building. My performance was good. I was doing everything I was supposed to be doing. I was even one of those government employees that went every day of the week. I did support him. I was a Trump supporter. When he talks about government waste and all that, yes, I'm behind it. I believe there is a lot of stuff in the government that needs fixing. And I thought that someone with like his business acumen would have come in with a fine-tooth comb and actually found it, instead of coming in with a wrecking ball and destroying people's lives for no reason.
Okay. How many people in this country were asleep between 2017 and 2024? Seriously, man, what is going on? The myth about his business acumen was debunked in the 1980s. I get it. Mark Burnett created this other myth about him, and that apparently played very well in a lot of parts of the country. But he literally destroyed, or came very close to destroying, America from the middle of 2020 on. So I don't get why that myth is still so tenacious. And again, of course, who likes waste and fraud? Well, Donald does, obviously. But I mean, as American citizens, if we pay taxes, we want the government to use our money as well as possible to help as many people as possible, to make things work as smoothly as possible, right? But here's the thing: the one party of the two major parties that is the absolute worst about stuff like that is the Republican Party. So we kind of have no right to be surprised. And also, I'm a little sick of this whole, well, I didn't think it was going to be me who got hurt. I thought it was going to be those guys because they're Democrats and Democrats suck. So it isn't just working people who are angry. Republican lawmakers are taking the heat for Donald's overreach as well. Just last night, Representative Rich McCormick, a Republican from Georgia, got absolutely torched by constituents at a town hall in his state. Play the clip.
Tyranny is rising in the White House, and a man has declared himself our king. So I would like to know, rather, the people would like to know what you, congressmen, and your fellow congressmen are going to do to rein in the megalomaniac in the White House.
Nothing is the answer. But fabulous. We need more town halls like that. We need people rallying like that. We need people using that kind of passion and intensity when laying out the actual facts of the matter. Donald fancies himself a king now. He's definitely heading into the dictatorial territory. Elon Musk is a fledgling dictator, and nobody even voted for the guy. So Republicans should have their hands full with this one, but we can't expect anything from them. We can only expect something from us which is kind of where we've been for a long time now. So let's just embrace this as an opportunity. Because Donald is expert at making everything worse. He has an idiotic idea to trick people into thinking everything's just fine, right? Oh, it looks bad, but it's really totally fine. Even though some of these people are not going to see their tax refunds, which they depend on, until November, potentially at the earliest, he's announcing something that he and Musk are calling Doge rewards. Well, those basically would be the shiny object that is currently being dangled in front of people's faces to divert them from what's really going on. Take a look.
There's even under consideration a new concept where we give 20% of the Doge savings to American citizens and 20% goes to paying down debt, because the numbers are incredible, Elon. So many billions of dollars, billions, hundreds of billions, and we're thinking about giving 20% back to the American citizens and 20% down to pay back debt and pay down debt.
Brilliant. What a brilliant idea. Only somebody who is a complete ignoramus when it comes to how taxes and the economy works would come up with something so monumentally stupid. The idea here, again, is to send Americans a cut. And Elon Musk isn't saving anything. Nothing is being saved here. Lots of things are being squandered, but they'll make up some number. And they're going to cut checks, which I like to think of as bribery. Instead of doing the efficient thing in the archaic sense of the word and paying down American debt. So initially, $5,000 per person was promised. Why do we need to use Doge savings for that? Elon, just break open your piggy bank. God, he's so greedy. Now, of course, that number has dropped to 1,500, which would still make a significant difference in a lot of people's lives. So that is nothing to sneeze at. However, it is not the right way to go about this. Experts are warning, because I know that it's hard to remember this, because Republicans hate everything about knowledge. But experts are those people who actually know things about specific topics. And they're warning, so these would be economic experts, that this very corrupt move, could reignite inflation, because handing out stimulus money while cutting taxes for the rich is like throwing gasoline on a fire. So this comes at a time when consumer prices rose 0.5% last month, the biggest increase since August 2023. Egg prices are soaring. Gas prices have climbed 4 cents per gallon, and they are going to continue going up. And that's just since Donald took office. Everything, the hole we're in, the hole they're digging for us, I should say, keeps getting deeper. James Carville addressed the complete idiocy of all of this on Fox on Thursday.
There's tens and hundreds of billions. American for what? All right, you went for 10 minutes.
All right,
okay.
Go ahead.
If he can find the money, great, give everybody $1,000. But I'll tell you this: more deficit has accumulated under Donald Trump than the other president in American history. But I'm glad that you're on the fiscal responsibility bandwagon. I'm glad you're on the bandwagon of Bill Clinton being able to balance the budget and bring unbelievable prosperity to America. But, you're reading these polls, and I'm reading the polls saying the Democrats are 13 points up in the congressional generic, that Donald Trump has the lowest approval rating of any president at this point in his presidency in American history. So your viewers are getting one view, and I'm reading another view. So one of us is right and one of us is wrong. It's that simple.
Put on Trafalgar.
They got fact checkers at Fox, and
yeah, well, who cares about right or wrong? I just want to make one clarification. Carl said that Donald has accumulated more debt than any other president in United States history. Here's the clarification. Donald Trump has accumulated more debt than all of the other presidents combined in U.S. history. That sounds worse, because it is. Carville's comments got under Donald's skin because it is so very thin It's like prosciutto thin, really. And he went on a rant on his failing social media platform, and it went like this. Quote, I won the presidential election in a landslide. No, you did not. Won all 7 swing states. The popular vote in all 50 states shifted Republican. The Democrats, run by broken down losers like James Carville, who's weak of mind and body, you should talk, are going crazy and just don't know what to do. They have lost their confidence and spirit. They have lost their minds, unquote. I swear to God, he is always looking in the mirror when he writes these things. Okay, Donald. You know, I like to help you out whenever possible, buddy. You're gutting the IRS, which is really going to hurt a lot of people. I know you don't care, but still, that won't redound to your benefit in the long run, or even in the short run. Here's hoping. You're making tax season a nightmare. People already hate tax season, so you make that worse. Also, will that redound to your benefit? You're helping billionaires cheat, which, yeah, that tracks. I think that's genetic for you. And now you're trying to bribe your base with these fake Doge benefits, which I'm beginning to think are just going to be like non-fungible tokens, trading cards with the amount 1,500 printed on them. I'm guessing. I don't think it's going to be real money. All the while, you're ignoring the fact that your policies are going to make everything more expensive. Now, again, I know you don't care about whether other people's lives are made more miserable, but they will. Okay, here's the truth of the matter. While none of us particularly likes paying taxes, and many of us resent some of what our tax dollars pay for, the government depends on those monies to fund our country. Like everything, like all the good stuff, the stuff you actually like, unlike, the $1 trillion for the Defense Department. We need IRS employees to make the system work as efficiently as possible in the actual sense of the word efficiently. And, the other thing to keep in mind, which I mentioned earlier, is that all of this, one, it's going to make your lives harder, and it's going to make really, really, really rich people more rich. And why is that okay? And because of that, our entire country is going to become poorer and weaker and less secure. Here again is the former supporter of Donald, Robert.
Government employees do a service. It's I know we're not sometimes I know the IRS isn't the favorite people on the planet, but we fund your government. We fund your roads. We fund everything. So we're not there for us. It was a job, and we try to do it.
And that is an incredibly good point to keep in mind, because again, this is not just happening to IRS, this is happening at agencies everywhere. Civil servants, overwhelmingly nonpartisan in the sense that they do not let their politics affect their work, right? Do their jobs because they believe in this country and they believe in helping the people who live here. Okay? Now, a lot of what he just said makes a lot of sense. It's just really unfortunate that so many people like Robert didn't think long enough and hard enough before they voted in November 2024. Please take a second and like and share this video. It'd be awesome if you could subscribe to the channel. If you're listening to us in podcast form, please follow us and give the show a 5-star rating, because it really does help other people find our content. Thanks.